Hi everyone, it's Greg Head from The Strategic Investor. Hey, I want to take a few minutes today and talk about China's real estate market. Now, you may wonder, why would someone who invests in Canadian real estate care about what's happening in China's real estate market? Well, the fact of the matter is we live in a global economy today. And what happens in China, what happens in the US or Europe, all has an impact here in Canada sooner or later. So I like to stay ahead of the curve, and I like to follow markets other than outside the areas I invest in, because it gives me that global perspective. And as a real estate cycle expert, it really helps me analyze the local markets when I can have that global perspective. So in terms of China, I've been following that market closely for about 2.5 years. And no matter which way you slice or dice it, that market is headed into a slump. There's been cities in China the last 6 months that have lost up to 60% of value. Now, granted, these are new construction projects and heavily overbuilt. But the reality is China is starting to slow down. So when we look at ourselves here in Canada, what does that mean? Well, as we head into 2012, I think China is going to be the headline, the mainstream headline. Obviously, those headlines have been dominated by Greece and Europe over the last number of months, but I really think we're going to start to see those show up in the mainstream media in Canada and US and around the world for that matter in the coming year. So it's going to hurt consumer confidence. Definitely, that's the first thing that's going to happen. Secondly, resources are going to lower demand for resources. Oil prices, floating around $100 a barrel today. If we took a $20, $30 hit to oil, a number of the projects in Alberta are still attractive and economical at that point. Potash, cement, you name the commodities that are required to build the infrastructure that China has been building and the pace they've been at, is definitely going to see a slowdown. So what does it mean to real estate investors? Well, a couple things. Number one, if you've read my book, Secrets of the Canadian Real Estate Cycle, you'll understand the difference between what a market influencer is and what a key driver is. Now, real quickly, market influencers are those things that have a short-term impact on a market. And what they do is they cloud the perception of what's really happening in a market. The other factor is what we call key drivers. And key drivers are those economic fundamentals such as job growth, net migration, salary increases, GDP, all those sorts of things. So, one of the classic market influencers is foreign investment. So if you look at Toronto and Vancouver right now, they've been impacted heavily in the last year by foreign investment from China. So as China begins to slow coming into 2012, I do expect to see that taper off. And those markets have been overheated. So I definitely see some risk in those markets. Now, if you're investing in those markets, what you want to do now is be proactive. You want to start stress testing your portfolio. And I have a free download at the end of this video that you can go to a site and download what I use myself. It's called the Investor Scorecard. And what it allows you to do, it's a real simple tool to put in your portfolio and then run what-if scenarios. So what if values drop 10%? What if rents drop? What if values rise? What if interest rate changes? It allows you to run all those what-if scenarios so you can be proactive to see what you need to do ahead of time if you think the market's going in one direction or the other. So that's the first thing, is definitely be proactive and watch out for those more riskier markets in Canada. The second thing that you'd want to do, no matter where you're investing, is buy on cash flow. Right now, Alberta looks very attractive in terms of the cash flow opportunities. Obviously, in 2007 when the slump came to Alberta, values have come off, but rents were pretty sticky. So there's really good cash flow right now in markets like Calgary and Edmonton. So as we head into 2012, definitely watch for China to take over the media and have an impact on the global economy. In the meantime, invest strategically.